All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think I might be actually having a moment here. I've waited years for this, but we'll come to that in a second. Holy crap. Um, so first things first, if you guys are actually interested, like whoever the hell decides to actually click on this video, because this video is going to be like 2 hours long or something stupid like that. I still need a high level 60 partner for my Paladin character on the white main server. Now, all the PvP servers I think are linked together in a cluster, so you don't technically have to be on the white main server. Basically, if you have a 60 on a PvP server, yeah, we're going to see what the realm here real fast. Retrieving realm list, classic era, select realm characters. I don't know what freaking I think it's North America, anyways. Whatever. Send me a letter in the mail, a literal letter in the World of Warcraft mail to this character right here, Palatine, literally my name, so we can get started on that. Again, the master plan here is that I'll be soloing all the bosses in as many dungeons as I possibly can, and I need a level 60 referee. So we're going to go into the dungeon, we'll kill everything except for the bosses, then I'll solo the bosses for video content as Palatine here, and then level her up slowly but surely. Just to showcase how durable paladins can do. I think that's the next stage of evolution for the hardcore paladin guide stuff. Worst case scenario, I will bring my main to the party to help clear out the mobs, but that is that. All right, cool. So what has got me so tickled pink here that we might actually have to sit here and react for damn near 2 hours? Well, Asmongold made like an hour-long video on his reaction to all the old changes he wanted in a classic fresh list. And he's changed his opinions so considerably over time that I've only watched a little bit of it, that I'm super tickled pink by this. Like, holy crap, I'm actually excited. Let me show you guys something here real fast. Let me pause the video in case, I don't know, something weird pulls up when I do this. Alright, here we are. So, I'm going to scroll all the way down to a video I made all the way back when TBC came out, and it's one of my most downvoted videos of all time. But when Classic World of Warcraft started popping off again, people came back and rewatched this video, and it's one of my most aged, like, fine wine videos ever. They think this is it. Why Classic WoW Season of Mastery is going to suck. Okay, so I made that video. But the one I really want is the why TBC is not better than Classic WoW. So let's go down here. Why TBC is garbage compared to Classic WoW. Look at the upvote percentage. It's like 61%. That is a ridiculously low. Anytime I tried to tell people that TBC was going to be terrible, they got downvoted a lot. But here's the one right here. You probably okay, cool. I want this video. I want this video. Pull it up. Come on, let's go.
He doesn't even need other people.
All right, so my TLDR on a little bit of history for this. A little bit of history for this video real fast here. I actually need to turn that up if I'm going to do this, aren't I? Okay, we'll turn that up a fair bit. That way I can talk and Asmongold can talk. Let me test this real fast here.
Socializing problem from Classic World of Warcraft to TBC, which is that you don't have 40-man raids anymore, right? Suddenly you have 40-man raids, which means the old guild roster and the old boys
It's not enough, is it?
shoot the shit in the raids and blah, 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 blah.
Better? Testing?
Guild together
No, up higher.
On top of that,
Right,
40-man
okay,
raid,
we'll leave it there.
25-man content.
All right, cool. Shut up. Telling myself to shut up. That's fascinating. But the TLDR basically on it was, this was back during a time period where everybody was saying how Burning Crusade could likely be even better and greater and like outperform World of Warcraft Classic. This was back when Stay Safe was saying that, when S-Fan was saying that, when I don't think S-Fan ever said that. I could be wrong about that. Don't want to put words in his mouth. Asmongold was at least interested in the concept, right? If not outright saying it. And I made this video basically being like, you people are fucking retarded, and here's why. And my stance, of course, was World PvP, much better than Classic World of Warcraft. We got it right here. Raid difficulty, in my opinion, basically what I say, and you can see it right here, people don't like hard raids, especially 25-man raids. Are you stupid? They want super easy chill raids where they're going to get the gear no matter what. They want to get drunk and hang out with their friends and shoot the shit. They want to wipe on a boss because somebody made a joke and everyone just couldn't stop laughing, and so everybody died. And nobody cares. We want that chill environment in raids. So I considered that the fact that the raids were becoming harder to be a net loss as opposed to a net gain. Then you got like deep and varied PvP specs and gearing encounters. Definitely better in Classic World of Warcraft than here. Dueling was so much better in Classic. Socializing was so much better. Exploring was so much better. So forth and so on. Let's scroll up here. What else we got here? Puzzling, better. Ooh, exploring. Yeah, it's about even for TVC. Okay, I see what we're going here. Lots of things to do. PV as a PVE a PvPer, and a PvEer. One sec, let me cough. I'm still kind of sick. It is what it is. Cough, 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 cough. Oh my god, I hate it. Still got that bronchitis I'm recovering from. Terrible. Anyways, going on through this video again. You can watch this video. I thought it was an amazing video. So, one fascinating thing for me is my background is a socio-economic political philosopher. What does that mean? That means I deal with the attempting to create political systems that best achieve the desires of a large group of humanity that absolutely cannot agree on what is best for a political system. This background translates almost one-to-one, I have found, to good MMO world design, right? And I tried to explain that in this video here to some extent, where basically I was like, okay, this is kind of what your population looks like in World of Warcraft in like a pie chart format, right? And I would advise revise this a little bit in my old age, but this is basically, in my opinion, what it looks like. You got a lot of people who are exploring. That would be, I just want to level up from 1 to 60. I don't want to watch any guides. I'm here for the adventure. Cool. That we'll call that an explorer. A socializer. Those are people who like the guild and stuff and the events. They just want to shoot the shit. Where I talked about that. Then you got the raid puzzlers, the people who want to figure out how to best perform under raiding conditions, regardless of whether the raids are hard or not. They just want to figure out how to get the best times and so forth and so on. You got the raid flexers, the guy who's had the gear and they just want to flex on everybody. Then you have the raid explorers, the people who basically just want to see the content. Explore what it's like as this class, this spec, that spec. Then you got the PV peer flexers, and you got the PV peer puzzler. I obviously am more in the PvP puzzler camp, and Drakova, of course, would be both in the flexer and the puzzler camp. But basically, this is how it is. And then the question, Classic World of Warcraft makes everybody here happy, but it doesn't make everybody here like super happy, if that makes any sense. So you've designed a game that makes the vast majority of people happy, but it's not tailor-made to make any one group happy over the other. TBC completely violates this, however. TBC basically tells the socializers to go fuck themselves. This was my argument back in the day. The socializers to go fuck themselves. The world is much smaller, so the explorers can go get bent. The raiders and the flexers are, of course, happier because the PvE content got harder and is more difficult, so they're happy, of course. And new raids, of course, more difficulty. They're super happy. This branch loves TBC, I imagine, right? Totally. PvPers and PvP puzzlers, fuck no. TBC is garbage. It was terrible compared to Classic World of Warcraft. We even saw that with the recent mock Garage tournaments, which I was thinking it would take 1,000,000 years for anybody to die, but god damn was I wrong. People were dying left, right, and center under those PvP conditions. Holy fuck. I wonder if it's just me being biased as a paladin. Like, shit, if I was a paladin, I wouldn't die for shit out there. God damn, but guess I was wrong about that. Can't be right about everything. But anyways, this is one of my most downvoted videos of all time, but it is a subject near and dear to my heart, and I made this video and others in direct response to Asmongold specifically making this fucking list here that he is about to re-review years later and have major issues with. So you can see why I'm tickled pink. I'm like, oh boy, I want to watch this. I want to react. I want to see what he thinks has changed in the grand scheme of things. So, since I've only watched a little bit of the video and I'm already tickled pink, I figure I'll watch the rest of the video and record it with you guys and see what he says.
Do this, to be honest with you, I've kind of, let me do this. Which of these do I still agree with now after I've thought about the game for longer? I think mage boosting is totally fine. I do. I don't think it's really a big deal. Now, obviously, I would be okay if they just got rid of mage boosting and they got rid of... I don't think they should buff experience.
How do I feel? Okay, yeah. One second.
Like, I can see why people wouldn't want mage boosting, but I don't think they should buff experience. I think experience is fine.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I was actually unhappy when they lowered the experience requirements. I thought it was okay in Season of Mastery, but I thought it was also retarded in Season of Mastery. Because in Season of Mastery, it was basically like they're like, oh, you only have a year to play. And I'm like, okay, cool. We're going to increase your XP gains. Originally, it was like 20% from XP quest gains. And I was like, what? And then they eventually increased it to 50%. And even still, I was like, what? And eventually, they reduced the amount of XP you need in general by like a third or something. Increased XP quest by like 50% or something stupid like that. And at that point, I was like, oh, okay, that's better. But if we're talking more for like a long form, non-season of mastery, multiple year MMO, it's perfectly fine for questing to take a million years. I think classic World of Warcraft, in my opinion, you could reduce the amount of XP needed to quest or to level up by 20%. Nobody would even notice. Literally nobody would notice. He might be forgetting those deeper levels, like level 40, 44, 45, where it just becomes literally, it's like 8 hours of gameplay for one level. Holy crap. You're lucky to get a level a day. So I don't know about that. I feel a little bit indifferent. I just don't want to see them removing the XP too much. The mage farm thing, okay, that's a double-edged sword. Because on one hand, if botting didn't exist, I would completely agree. If botting does exist, I would rather see AoE farming in dungeons getting significantly nerfed, and it was nerfed horrifyingly in TBC. If you tried to AoE farm the old classic dungeons in TBC, the mobs would fuck you in your ass. They would fuck you in your ass through bubble. I'm talking like they said the mobs are literally like, yo, homie, are you taking longer than like 3 minutes to kill us? You're only one person in this dungeon? Oh, okay, that's cute. Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to teleport to whatever fucking position you're on, and we're going to start hitting you with a perma-stun ability that doesn't give a fuck about your bubble and enjoy death. I was like, holy crap. So I would die in like Zul'Farrak like a bitch. I was just like, all right, this is fascinating. But I've seen this part. I completely agree with what he's about to say on the subject. Yeah.
Because buffing experience plays into the narrative that the game starts at level 60.
Yeah, I completely agree with
doesn't.
that.
It starts at level 1.
Yeah, definitely.
Boob slider. We're not going to cross this one out. We're going to underline it.
Yeah.
New raids. Obviously. Harder fights on older content.
All right, so for the record, this is what he wants for Classic Plus. But this is also him re-reviewing his old stuff. New raids I completely agree with 100% for Classic Plus, but I disagree with increasing either level or, and do not increase our level cap. Level cap stays at 60. Do not mess around with the talent trees. The talent trees stay exactly the same way. You can give us new gear, you can give us new tier sets, but do not go above item level, I think it's 83, which is Nax level gear, if that makes any sense. So in other words, they're giving us new gear, Nax level gear. I'm completely fine with that. But also make it so that you're not getting tier 3.5. You're not getting tier 4. Like, fuck you. I don't want to see item level 100 gear in my damn game. Like, what the hell? Because I don't trust Blizzard to know how to balance PvP at all. I'm not super worried about them screwing up PvP too much because I know enough about PvP to know that it's kind of not possible. What makes me say that? Okay, well, what makes me say that specifically, make sure we're still recording here, is that we duel in classic World of Warcraft, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. But we put a lot of restrictions on duels for very good reasons. And one of those major restrictions is no Whipper Tuber and no health potion. Okay? Which means that if Blizzard fucks up PvP so bad, what'll end up like giving people too much damage, not enough HP levels to survive attacks. They completely fuck it up in that sense. The next thing you know, in duels, we're just going to have to start using Whipper Tubers, and we're going to start using healing potions. So I'm not super worried about that, but I don't trust Blizzard to know what the hell they're doing on the subject. Classic World of Warcraft PvP is actually balanced on a knife's edge, believe it or not. It's only tempered by the fact that there's so many crazy items and shit in the game that it becomes a kind of like, back and forth, this thing, you use that, yeah. So it's a weird self-balance kind of a thing. But the base game with the rules and the dueling that we have now and being in Warsong Gulch and stuff is absolutely perfect and amazing as is. Yeah, so I don't trust them not to screw that up. The other thing that I would super like to see, if they don't want, I honestly would not like to see any new gear in the game whatsoever, but this is just me as a PvPer, right? I realize that the statement I'm making is catering to me as a PvPer. I don't want to see any new gear, not a single new item with different stats in the game, period. I know that sounds terrible, but you hear me out, right? Instead, what I would like the new raids to do is they actually give you old tier sets, but brought up to like max level, or old gear brought up to max level. So basically, all the gear in Molten Core, your tier 1, your tier 2, your tier 0, your 0.5, all that gear it's the exact same gear, but it's just brought up to item level 83. To me, that would be absolutely amazing, because I've always wanted to play with a certain tier sets that were actually brought up to max level, if that makes any sense. I don't think we actually need new gear is what I'm trying to say. I think we just need them brought up to max level. That's just me, but I'll let Asmongold talk here real fast.
I'm talking about things like Hakar 5 Priest.
All right, so you want harder raids,
plus
but
no loot.
All right, so what I think he's trying to say, because I've seen this already, this part at least, is he's trying to say that he wants a special mode where people can engage in harder boss fights, but they don't provide any additional loot beyond what would drop normally. Okay? So you have like for the glory content and nothing else.
I think that beating something like Hakar 5 Priest or something like this is a reward intrinsically, and it doesn't need to actually be something that you get better gear for. Because once you put a reward into a game, then you create gameplay.
Yeah, see, he's going to look at it from a reward system perspective, but I look at it from a socializing system perspective. The harder you make the raids, the less social the raiding environment can be, if that makes sense. So you're basically pissing on the socializer group of aspect of World of Warcraft. But I agree completely with what he's about to say. I'm just aware that there are two elements here that you're basically pissing on. You're pissing on the socialization, and you're pissing on what he's about to describe.
So, for example, nobody tried to farm out the Ravenhold rep before they added the insane title, except for like people that were actually insane. There's like 6 of them. So outside of that, nobody did that. But once you add a title and a reward to something, you drive gameplay. So for example, everybody is always running ICC in retail WoW to get invincible, right? Well, how many people are running Nax 25? None, because it doesn't drop a mount. It doesn't drop a rare mount, and so the mount drives the gameplay. So rewards drive gameplay. That's how it is. Wrong? No, I'm just completely right.
The only solution that I can see to this, I agree with him completely, is that, and I wanted this in Season of Mastery, especially early on, which is if you're going to make me fight a harder boss, or you're going to make the boss mode harder to fight, that is perfectly fine, but please, for the love of God, increase the amount of loot that drops. Not what kind of loot that drops, not the item level of the loot that drops, not the quality of the loot that drops, just literally increase the amount. Like that's the only middle ground between the either no loot option or don't. I would like to see special modes for harder boss fights, but we technically already do this in Classic World of Warcraft. It's called we can bring 40 people to kill Onyxia, but we're only bringing 15 because that means there's more loot for us, right? We could bring 40 jackasses into Molten Core to kill Molten Core, or we can split the guild into two 20-man groups, fill it out with a bunch of GDKPers so that we're like, two 35-man raids doing Molten Core. And then the guild as a whole gets more loot and more gold, and the GDKPers are happy. So this kind of stuff already happens in Classic Era and will happen in Classic Fresh in the future. So yeah, it is what it is, but we're just talking about making this more accessible and more definitive. But yeah, we already do make the raids harder, but if you want to make them like a flex level harder, if you want to make the flexers happy, which again, remember that circle, right? I think do we still have that damn circle around here? Can't remember. Yeah. So if we want to make the flexers happy, if we make the raid too hard, we're going to make the socializers miserable, right? So we can't do that. But if we want to make the raider flexers happy, we need to have harder content. So I think they should get a title, 100%. But I don't think they should get gear. But if you want to increase the drop rates of the gear, I'm 100% okay with that. Where the hell are we right now? Where are you at, Asmongold? Hideki Anno, Stamina, Berserk, Making of Evangelion. What the? There we go.
It's better than you do. It's obvious. Anybody who's not stupid would agree with me. Anyway, so yes, I think harder fights on older content is good, but the rewards for them should only be in accolades. It should only be like, hey, we did this.
Yep.
You don't need to have a title. You don't need an achievement.
You can
you
give
don't
them
need
a title.
anything.
It's fine.
Just have it be out there, and that's it.
I think the flexers need a title.
No world buffs and raids.
I think the flexers need a title.
I have now completely gone back on this opinion.
All right, let's hear it.
World buffs are what makes Classic WoW great.
All right.
World buffs make the world feel alive.
Okay.
World buffs create a sense of camaraderie inside of your server. I am a big fan of world buffs, and I think that it's better to have that camaraderie and that experience and that excitement of being able to log on and get those cool buffs. I think that matters 10 times more than having a hard fight. Well, you want a hard fight? Go play Dragonflight.
Yeah.
It's 1,000 times harder than anything in Classic.
Yeah, I can completely agree with this in the sense that nobody bothers with world buffs anymore now that we've learned that Classic World of Warcraft is so freaking easy. Instead, we basically just do GDKPs, and if we fall on our butt and die a few times, who cares? We're here to make gold, right? It's a waste of our gold to buy all these consumables and get these raid buffs and all that stupid stuff. It's usually so much, I'm telling you, it's so much better to take your damn guild, your 40-man guild, split them into two 20-man raid groups, and fill it out with GDKPers. That is so much better for you gearing as a raid. Like, the world buffs and stuffs are basically, again, let's go back to this stupid circle here. Let's bring this over here so we can see it better. Right, who likes harder, who likes world buffs and raids? Like specifically, who thinks they're absolutely amazing? That would be the Raider Flexers, right? The Raider Flexers absolutely adore it. But the normal Raiders are basically just there for gear, and anybody who's just there for gear and they don't give a flying fuck about flexing on people, they do not care about world buffs, and they would much rather be in a guild that's going to split up and do GDKPs. Why? Because that means more gear for you. Just so we're clear about how a GDKP works, right? So if you take your 40-man guild, you split them into two 20-man groups, and you go do Molten Core GDKPs. What this means is that if an item drops and somebody in the guild wants the item, they get it for free. But if an item drops that the guild, nobody in the guild currently wants, then it goes up for auction in the GDKP. Are we clear on this? So what this means is you very easily get to have more gear is raining down effectively on the 40-man raid. You're getting basically two raids in every week as opposed to one, and everybody's making some gold. There's nothing wrong with this. Everybody is happy. All right, let's go back to Asmongold then.
So that's what I think. World buffs are great. World buffs was never intended for raids. Yeah, well, they let it happen for all of Classic, so it looks like it was alright. Dragonflight is still easy as fuck. Not on Mythic, I guarantee you. And if it is, then you should play the game less. You do something else. I disagree. World buffs make shit easier. They absolutely do. And you know what else makes shit easier? Logging on to Classic World of Warcraft, a solved 18-year-old video game that requires a one-button rotation. If you want something challenging, go play Valorant. If you want something challenging, go play League of Legends. Don't play this brain-dead, dumb-fuck game that the average age of people that play it is 30 years old, 40 years old, and most people are too fucking slow to be able to react to a 5-second debuff. Don't talk about, oh, how this needs to be harder. If it's harder, those people are going to quit the game. They're the audience.
That's what we saw in TBC, yes.
You're not proving anything by doing nothing in Classic WoW other than, like, beating other players in PvP.
Oh my
has
God.
any value.
I love you.
There is nothing skillful about clearing any content in
completely.
Classic WoW
That's why I PvP.
or achieving anything in Classic WoW.
Yeah, that's why I PvP.
It is a personal achievement.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, I got 200 armor smithing in New World. It took no skill, and it took a lot of time. You can be a Grand Marshal, and you can be trash at PvP.
And that part right there is why Classic World of Warcraft is absolutely amazing. Okay? One thing I despise in TBC and all other games beyond that is the best PvP gear in the game being locked behind being the best PvPer in the game. Meaning they say, oh, you want the best PvP gear in the game? Well, you have to be the best PvPer in the game. Fuck you. Like straight up, fuck you. That is terrible game design. Why is this? Well, because it's so much better for everyone to be able to get the best PvP in the gear in the game relatively easily, and it requiring little to no skill. Why is this? Because people who are highly skilled and are just gonna crush your face anyways. It doesn't matter if you're full Grand Marshals, like fully decked out with epics. Heck, I got that one dueling video where I'm beating that rank 14 rogue in basically BRD gear. I mean, damn. It's so much funner that it's like if you suck at PvP, you need that advantage in order to have fun. If you are great at PvP, you absolutely do not need the advantage of the best gear in the game to crush people's faces. So again, if I made like a pie chart of people's happiness in PvP, right? There would be a huge portion of that pie chart that would be, I suck at PvPing, but I make up for it with X. And X is, I have better gear than other people. And usually I'm fighting other people who are just as bad or a little bit worse than me. And so they feel like they're really good PvPers. Like most Paladins in Classic World of Warcraft feel like they are amazing PvPers, even though they only have like a 70% win rate. Why? Because they're outgearing people and most other people that they're fighting suck. You run into an actual top tier Paladin PvPer, he looks like a completely different organism than any other Paladin you've ever met. And Lord knows we've seen that in enough Drakova videos where it's like, oh, there's two shamans about to try to kill Drakova, and he just murders both of them and walks away like a Giga Chad. It is what it is. We do not need, as a top tier PvPer, I do not need the best gear in the game in order to dunk on other people. That's just going to make it absolutely miserable. And then it was even worse because they locked it behind the arena system, and Jesus fucking Christ, is there some issues with arena system. Holy shit. It's like, oh, you want to play this class in Arena? Get fucked. It's like, oh, that's beautiful. How do I get my best PvP gear in the game? No, actually, you need to go do Arena, so I need to get fucked. Oh, okay. I'll proceed to get fucked. Thank you very much. Moving on.
You can be a Scarabord, and you can just be a guild master, and that's why you're Scarabord.
Yes.
You can get every single thing in Classic WoW, and you don't deserve it at all.
Yep. And you can
Hardcore takes skill.
And you can be a 16-year-old dumbass who only plays on the weekends. You can be a 40-year-old father who's only got like an hour a day to play, but GDKPs exist. It's beautiful. I don't know what to tell you.
Although hardcore, the skill that hardcore takes to level to 60 is fractional compared to the amount of skill being good at a competitive PvP game takes.
Agreed.
Is a fraction. It is a single-digit percentage of the difference. I understand that again, it takes planning. Stop trying to make a casual game hardcore. You're going to ruin the game.
Yes.
Stop it. Just stop. It's not hard. Stop trying to get an ego from beating an easy game. Just stop it.
Yeah.
Stop trying to have an ego for beating a solved 18-year-old video game. This video game can vote.
Lol.
What are you doing?
Okay, this is all new stuff he's saying to me now. Damn. I was just thinking to myself, holy shit. Yeah, but back in the classic World of Warcraft days, people, like during Fresh, people would look at me funny because I was like, bro, I don't care about parsing or anything. I just care about PvP. And they're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, you don't get an ego boost or something from getting good numbers? And I'm like, why? This game is so fucking easy. Who gives a shit? Like, do I feel good about this? No. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I agree with him. But some people are that way. They get their ego boost from being the best healer in the guild, the best DPS in the guild, like, you know, min-maxing things. They are, let's pull it up real fast here. The Raider Puzzler, right? The Raider Puzzler really enjoys, like, you know, figuring out how to be the best of the best of the best in raid and squeeze this out and yada, yada, yada. Hell, man, if that's you, go do your thing. But I'm going to tell you right now that compared to PvP, yeah, he's right. It's basically nothing on a difficulty scale. On an execution scale, I think it's significantly harder. Like, I'll be honest there. Like, parsing really good in raid after raid after raid. You'd think it would be easy with a one button spec, but there's a lot of little nuances there. I'm not gonna lie.
Jesus. Classic Hardcore is a knowledge check. It is. It is. It's not like it's easy. It's not that it's easy
I guess it is a knowledge check.
Everything,
yeah, that is correct.
But it doesn't require any sort of like actual skill or dexterity. No debuff limit at all. I agree with this still. Debuff limits are stupid, and all they did was make it to where Shadow Priests and Affliction Warlocks.
Yeah, I agree completely. And fucking Ret
rebalancing
Paladins.
of classes, especially Ret, Moonkin, and Prop Paladin.
Oh,
I
all
agree
right.
with the.
You shut the fuck up. Let me try to do my thing first. Yeah, Ret needs a little bit of buff. I agree with this completely, but only in a raiding context. But I made an entire video about that, right? I'm perfectly fine with them getting buffs as long as it only happens the moment they step into a raid. Because otherwise, if you look at the circle again, you're going to fuck over other people. You're going to fuck the PvPers. Yeah. Just why? Why screw over the PvPers when you don't have to?
This too. Maybe not Prop Paladin.
All right, let's see what he said.
I agree with this too. Maybe not Prop Paladin, right? But especially Ret and Moonkin. Ret should have something that makes their raid damage higher, and Moonkin should have something that makes their mana return higher.
Okay, raid damage higher. Okay, at least maybe we're on the same page here.
Feral Druid, I think Feral can play pretty well. Arena, I don't think they should add Arena.
I would not mind Arena whatsoever. Again, my only issue with fucking Arena is locking the best PvP gear behind it. So if you want to Arena to get a Gladiator gear, a rank 14 gear, by all means, but there should be other ways to get the gear.
I do think they should add RBGs. I think adding Arena into WoW was a mistake. I think they should have gone with RBGs right from the beginning.
No, bro. The mistake is the gear. Fuck, I'll just let him talk.
Arena's a mistake. It made the game too competitive and too focused on balance and too focused on like hyper optimizing classes. And it took the experience of playing in an MMO in a shared world, and it took it and it distilled it down to what 3 characters can beat 3 other characters. But I don't think that's a healthy way to look at an MMO.
He's not wrong, but again, he's missing the point, right? They locked the best PvP gear in the game behind Arena in TBC and for virtually all other iterations of WoW, with the sole exception of maybe rated battlegrounds, right, with the conquest point systems. But in TBC, it definitely was locked behind Arena. Again, if you do not lock the fucking PvP gear behind the Arena, nobody's going to complain about Arena. Nobody's going to have a fucking problem with that. That's the problem. Once you lock the PvP gear behind the Arena, next thing you know, it really matters that every class is good in Arena. Fuck that shit. Just don't lock the gear behind it. That's all we're asking. Don't lock the fucking gear, best PvP gear in the game, behind Arena. So more specifically, I'm saying do not lock the best PvP gear behind a system where it's only accessible by the best PvPers in the world. Fuck you, that is dog shit. Make sure everybody and their dog can get access to the best PvP gear in the game, regardless of whether or not they're a good PvPer. It is so much better for the PvP scene.
Because a mage, a warrior, and a shaman, for example, those are not supposed to be the only 3 classes that are in combat. Battlegrounds was what an MMO was made for. A group of different players that are all playing different classes that all synergize in different ways. I think 3v3 is too small for that. Maybe if it was 5v5, it would be a little bit better. But I just think RBG should be better. 5v5 would be cool, but it wasn't though. The reason why Arena is also boring, is bad, is because it's not good for viewers. It's a bad esport. RBGs are 1,000 times better to watch. And if you want to have Arena exists because it wants to become an esport. That's why Arena exists.
He's not wrong.
It exists as the esport version of World of Warcraft. And in my opinion, I think that if an esport isn't good to watch, it's not worth existing.
That's a good point.
Arena is so boring to watch. Nobody cares, nobody understands it. But because RBGs have a meta goal, something like capture the flag or holding these points, this is something that a casual player can latch onto and understand. Versus this person is using 17 cooldowns and these cooldowns synergize with those cooldowns and there's all this other interplay in it and people just don't get it. 1v1 Arena, rated dueling, I don't know about that. Classes aren't balanced for 1v1. We saw that yesterday. That's just how it is. All that in the same engine and graphics will only attract nostalgia classic players. I don't believe they can keep using that. Using the same engine and graphics. So,
what?
About the graphics of World of Warcraft.
Nobody gives a shit. They're fine.
This game came out 10 years ago.
And
this game doesn't have insane graphics, but it has great fidelity of the graphics. It's not photorealistic.
Oh, these are the top ones. Yeah, he's made this argument before.
Let's see here. What other games don't really have good graphics?
Minecraft's right there.
Lost Ark is using Unreal 3. PUBG sucks. Ark is a joke. World of Tanks I don't think looks very good. Black Desert I don't think looks great if you actually look at it. It has great visuals, but the fidelity of those visuals is very low. There are many games. Return to Moria looks like shit, in my opinion. So yeah, the Ark is new. Well, what I'm saying is this is the point that I'm making, is that graphics don't make the game better. I think that just keeping the same old graphics is a good idea because that's what OSRS does, and it's been very successful.
Yeah.
At least try with the old graphics at first.
It also stops a lot of lag, all the particle effects and shit in retail WoW. You lose track of your mouse. League of Legends kind of has this problem too in PvP and so forth and so on, where there's just so much shit going on in the screen that old timers like me, I'm not that old, but you get the idea. I'm 38, I think. Be 39 soon, right? Yeah. But it's just too much. Like when I play retail, there's all this. Not only is there lag, but there's all these fucking particle effects on my screen and just white noise in my brain. I'm like, Jesus Christ! Can somebody like let me turn down the fucking graphic settings? What is all this shit? This is stupid. Just make a good game.
First, no respec cost.
That'd be fine.
I completely agree with this.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I think having to spend gold to respec only limits the game and it makes it less fun.
I think it would be fine if it was like 10 gold. But 50 gold is fucking ridiculous. Holy shit. Even at 10 gold, you'd be like, fuck, this kind of hurts.
I actively play the game less because I can't respec. It's that simple.
Okay.
I want to do PvP.
No, okay. And so we're clear, we don't want like a dual spec, if that makes any sense. Or the ability to change your spec at the snap of a fingers, because then you'd have weird scenarios where people would change their specs right before getting into a duel with you. But yeah, respec costs are fucking ridiculous. I think they should exist, but I don't think they should be 50 gold. 50 gold is basically it's so painful. I don't know what to tell you. It's painful enough to actually go to the fucking guy, respec, plug back in your talents, and then get back out there to do whatever it is that you have to do. I don't
want to be able to tank. But I can't do that without paying 100 gold collectively, right? Respec one way, respec back. Dual spec? No, you should just be able to respec whenever you want. However you want.
Alright, cool. We're on the same space. What?
You need a gold sync?
Fuck you. Say that again. Whenever I want?
Dual spec? No, you should just be able to respec whenever you want.
Fuck you.
However you want. You need a gold sync? You're right. I think they should do it in a different way.
Make it 10 gold. What the fuck?
I would be okay if...
They say it.
For example, like... As like a compromise...
Say 10 gold.
You were able to have like 3 different specs. Like, you know, you had your arm spec, your fury spec, and your prot spec, and you would have to respec your prot spec if you wanted to change your talents in your prot. But you could swap between any of them, like, I don't know, maybe in town or maybe wherever you're at.
Interesting.
You know, I
That's
think that
still
would
not
be
a
okay.
gold sync, though.
No honor system or rank 14 grind.
Fuck you.
The rank 14 grind was garbage. It was not a good system.
Just change it.
What should they do instead? Maybe they should do something like Burning Crusade. I don't really know.
Literally what you do for the rank 14, it's much better now than it used to be. You literally just have it as it is now. As it is now, the rank 14 grind is fucking perfect. It is perfect. I'm not joking. It's still probably cancerous ass dog shit, but I honestly think it's perfect as it is. It could even be made a little bit simpler. So the way it works now is, you still lose honor like you used to. They changed so many things about it. Okay, so basically it used to cost you X amount of time to get rank 14. It used to cost you like 12. No, say it straight right, Pally time. It used to cost you 4 months at minimum to get rank 14. Okay, and then they basically cut that in half with their season of mastery system, so that if you were top ranked every week, you only had to do it for about 2 months. Okay, because I did it recently. I did rank 13 grind. But then they changed it recently so that you can, while your honor still decays and your rank still decays, you can't actually lose rank. So if you got rank 12 and you decided to fuck off for 6 months, my bad, let's say you got rank 12.6 and then you decided to fuck off for 6 months. When you came back, your rank would have decayed only to 12. So you can't actually go down again. So it's like rungs on a ladder, which is beautiful. But what this still means is that to go from 13 to 14 is still going to be like at least a month of solid grinding. Let me think about that. A month of solid grinding, is that right? It's going to be about 3 weeks to 1 month of solid grinding to go from 13 to 14. But going from just getting up to 13 will also be about 1 month of solid grinding, which is so much fucking better. And you can take breaks, which is just, oh my god, mwah, beautiful. You could make it a little bit easier. You could even you can't make it much easier than that though. So I don't know. I would be okay if it was 0.5, if it was a 0.5 system. So you couldn't, if you were 12.6, and then you fucked off for 6 months and you came back, your honor would be 12.5. Your rank would be 12.5. I think that would be the best change for it, because you can't make it too easy, unfortunately.
I have no idea, but they should do something that is different than the rank 14 grind. They already changed it.
The only other option they're about to talk about, I'm talking about, the only other option that we talked about back in the day was have no rank 14 grind system whatsoever. Just have the items themselves cost honor. So you have to pay honor for each bit of item, but the amount of honor for each item is something stupid, like 1.5 million honor points. To give you an idea of how retarded 1.5 million honor points is, when you are grinding, in order to be like top seed in the rank 14 grind, like number 1, bracket 1, you have to get like over 1 million honor period, right? And you got to do that for 8 weeks. Nowadays you have to do that for 8 weeks. So you could easily just lock it behind an honor system, and people could take their sweet time with it. But each piece of gear would have to be at minimum like 1 million honor. I am not joking.
Yeah, I don't know if it's any better though. Guild banks.
I do. It's fucking
guild
amazing.
banks obviously should happen. There is no downside to guild banks, and it's just that's all there is to it. Guild banks are good, and they should have guild banks. Like, yeah, there you go. There's no decay. Yeah, maybe. Well, I mean, like,
whoa,
I'd have to
there's
think
decay. Shut the fuck up.
Mount tab, like just in retail, absolutely. This is not even a question. Having mounts take up a slot in your inventory adds nothing to the game, and it's just simply annoying.
Interesting.
Summoning stones.
Let me pause. I got to cough real fast.
No.
All right, we are back.
To the game, and it's just simply annoying. Summoning stones. No.
I agree completely.
No.
As far as the
if
socializing
it was retail
aspect,
WoW,
yeah.
I would want summoning stones. But classic WoW is not retail WoW.
Yeah, you're gonna walk your ass there.
The reason why classic WoW is
World
really cool
PvP,
is because you have to ride
socialization.
from Stormwind down through Westfall to get the ZG buff. If you could summon people like collectively at Zul'Gurub and just have them all summon there, or at Yojimba Isle, and you can do that with Warlocks. So it's not like this is impossible to do, but it's something that you have to plan for and earn. So yes.
And you can find it in looking for groups. Fuck. No.
I think this is something I would be...
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm actually not against new classes in World of Warcraft. DK, Demon Hunter, I'm not against it. You can keep your fucking pandas to yourself, though. That's for goddamn sure. I'm not 100% against this. I'm not going to lie. But Blizzard's going to break the shit out of them, right? Let's be honest. They're going to brick them pretty fucking hardcore. They won't know how to balance them around PvP or anything like that.
Be interested in, but I don't think it's something they should do right off the bat. Yeah, I mean, like, maybe in, like, 2 years into it, right? They could add in a Death Knight or something. Yeah, Blizzard will fuck it up. Probably, yes.
Yeah, the other issue is that... imagine they came out with Classic fresh, and it's like, but now this time we got DKs and we got Demon Hunters. Guess what percentage of the player base is going to be a fucking Death Knight and a Demon Hunter? God damn.
AoE looting.
No.
I agree with AoE looting.
Fuck you.
I think AoE looting is a good thing.
Yeah, let's make the mages... let's make the fucking mages have an easier time.
More streamlined to play.
Fuck you.
Now, I will provide an argument against AoE looting and talk about why I don't think that it's valid anymore.
Okay.
One reason why AoE looting is bad is because the amount of time that it takes for you to loot all of the items is another value that you have to calculate in terms of is something worth farming or not.
Hell
but
yeah.
the truth is that people are very fast with looting now with macros and everything. So really, this is something that just makes it unpleasant and annoying for casual players. And it just makes the game worse for casual players, and good players are able to automate around it.
All right, I'll give you that.
So it's like the worst of both
If
worlds.
that's the truth, I agree with him.
Irrelevant to good players and hurtful to casual players.
All right, I
So
agree.
yes, AoE looting,
Because
absolutely.
my only anti-argument was, bots.
Mini-game content.
They've got it figured out already.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
Hell yeah, give us more of this. Fuck you.
Remember the Dark Moon Fair they added in patch 4.3 in Cataclysm in Dragon Soul? That was a very good day. I think they need to add a lot more stuff like that. Absolutely not. No, absolutely they need to add that. Maybe not the one from 4.3, but in a general sense, they need to add more content that is casual content for the game for players to do that is outside of the scope of just logging on and doing a raid. Like a Brawlers Guild, stuff like that. Fall Guys, stuff like that. Yes, exactly. Well, little jumping puzzles. I would love that. Achievement system with chase meta account rewards.
What?
I will now disagree with this.
What the
and
fuck
this is
is
going to
that?
go back and forth to this here. Okay? And the reason why,
All right.
I'm going to tell you guys why.
One second. Let me go back. I don't know what the fuck that
Disagree-
is.
System with chase
Achievement system with chase meta account rewards. I don't know what chase meta account rewards means. I know what the achievement system is. They added that in TBC. Right? Am I wrong about that? Whatever. I know what the fucking. I don't know what chase meta means. Like, I know the words meaning, and I would disagree with the words meaning. I'd be like, chase meta, fuck you. Let's go have fun.
meta account rewards.
All right, let's go.
I'm going to tell you guys why. Achievements drive gameplay.
Okay.
Whenever there is an achievement in the game, players play the game differently because of that achievement.
True.
Classic WoW is a perfect mix between a sandbox and a theme park MMO because it doesn't have those.
Interesting.
Adding achievements into the game changed the way people played the game. Do you remember back in Wrath of the Lich King and Cataclysm whenever everybody was trying to do stupid stuff in Battlegrounds in order to get the achievements? Oh my god, it was so annoying. I just don't want to have that. So, I like achievements, right? I used to be number 2 in the entire region for achievements.
No shit.
So I was very, very serious about it. I had the top achievement points on my server by a mile for like 4 years. The only reason I lost it is because I quit. Who was number 1? I don't remember, actually. Yeah, I don't remember. Let's see here. Pre-made group finder like retail WoW.
Fuck you.
I do agree with this.
All right. Why?
I think that there should be a pre-made group finder. Now, I want to distinguish between 2 types of group finder.
Thank God.
Okay? You guys are not understanding. Let me explain. Whenever I'm talking about a group finder, what I mean by a group finder is I don't mean the dungeon finder or the raid finder.
All right, then I agree with you completely.
I mean the pre-made group thing that you can put a listing for your group based off of what you're doing. This should be in the game.
Okay.
This should not be in the game.
Ass.
And this should not be in the game.
Okay.
This is simply something that if Blizzard doesn't make it, people will make it in Discord or through an add-on.
Yeah, we already do that.
And it will probably be through an add-on.
Yeah, we do that looking for group
I don't
channel.
think that you should need to use third-party tools in order to play a video game. The pre-made group finder is just simply an add onto the game, and it makes it easier for people to do things rather than spamming trade chat. Spamming trade chat adds no value to the game, and it just sucks.
Okay. I'm not entirely convinced.
我係你嘅乾燥肌膚，
Thank you.
我需要
Yes, I do
CeraVe，
live in
佢含有
China. Fuck off.
So that's what I mean whenever I'm talking about pre-made group finder. I am not talking about dungeon
All
finder
right, okay,
or
I'll
raid
give it to
finder.
them.
Rare
Yeah, that's
spawn
fine.
events on the world that are actually difficult and rewarding.
Sure.
I think this is true, but this is the thing that I should worry about.
How rewarding are we talking about?
Making things rewarding can...
I'm completely okay if it's giving you like blue gear while you're leveling, but if it's like end game gear, fuck you.
change the way that people play the game. But having events out in the world, I think, will make the game feel more alive.
Like Warlords of Draenor
Especially
comes to
for
mind, right?
zones that are not very popular. Like Feralass. What the fuck do people do in Feralass? Well, I guess no, Dire Maul. People do things in Dire Maul. Desolus. Nobody gives a shit about Desolus. Let's see. Where's a few? Winter Spring? Well, there's a lot of stuff you do in Winter Spring, I would say. Maradon? Yeah, Maradon.
Blasted Lands.
Stone Talon Mountains. Yeah, who does anything in Stone Talon Mountains? The Blasted Lands.
Yeah.
Nobody goes to the Blasted Lands. So, like, if you had, like, a Dark Portal event, where, like, a Demon Lord comes out of the Dark Portal, like a Pit Lord comes out of the Dark Portal, you have to kill him, and, maybe he drops something, like a new world boss. That would be kind of cool, right? I mean, like, maybe. And I think they should try it out. Ashara is another dead zone.
Super dead.
Respawn inside of instance after a wipe.
Ooh.
It is very hard for me to say that this is a bad thing.
We already
having to run back to your body.
It's fine.
Adds no value and no gameplay.
Yeah, it just pisses everybody off.
It is annoying and it is a waste of time.
It's also an anti-socializing
I think
thing.
that the game, it is very easy to talk about things that create a greater sense of like existence in a greater world, and there are other things that are just recursive and boring.
All right, one sec here. Trying to cough quietly, and it's not working very well.
And I think running back to your body, running back to the Molten Core entrance,
yeah, that's the cancerous ass one I'm really thinking
and
about.
Boring. It adds no value to the game.
Or Black Fathom Depths.
It's a waste of time, and it just makes things take longer. There's no genuine value that it creates.
You could easily make it respawn at the summoning stone.
I do think that you should respawn inside of the instance after you wipe. Pointless time waste. Yes, exactly.
As a ghost, that is.
It gives death a penalty. Death already has a penalty. It's called death. It's called you lose your elixirs. You lose your place in front of the boss. You don't kill the boss. Your gear is broken. What do you mean? It makes death have a penalty. That's enough of a penalty already. You lose your world buffs. That's massive. Would you say this also should apply to overworld deaths? No, overworld deaths are. I think that the way WoW is designed, you should not change anything about overworld deaths. If you die, you run back, you get your body. You're wrong on that. You can 100% play Classic with no elixirs, so no death penalty at all.
Doesn't work that way.
No, I don't agree with the death penalty. I think death penalties make games less fun.
Well, what he's talking about is, imagine you wipe at the final boss in a dungeon. Well, you got to run from the fucking graveyard back to the dungeon, then all the way back to the boss. I think what he's talking about, it says respawn inside the instance after a wipe. We're not talking about respawning right. You still have to run through the fucking dungeon again to get back to the boss, is I think what he's talking about. Which is still cancerous ass. At least it's not, cancerous ass times 2.
Death penalties in general make games less fun for the majority of the player base. I understand that there are people that are like adrenaline junkies that like the idea of getting involved with like death penalties and being punished for dying, but like this is like a small niche community. The average player doesn't want to have to constantly be hyper-focused on worrying about being arbitrarily having like an hour of their time wasted because of some bullshit. This is like a micro community.
Yeah, it's like a
hardcore
30
WoW
to 40 minute
is
run
very
back
popular
to like
on Twitch,
Nefarian.
and it's very popular on YouTube. But the amount of people playing it is extremely small. Because it's actually not a popular way to play the game in terms of people that want to play the game. You're thinking about this from the mindset of content.
Woo!
I'm thinking about this from the mindset of the average player.
I think he's
the
figured it out.
The average player doesn't want to have to worry about this stuff.
Has he figured it out? I mean, look at him. Look what he's doing. He's talking about it as if he understands that the world comprises more than one. I wonder if he's figured it. Oh.
It's not enjoyable. And if they did, then you wouldn't have seen raid groups fall apart in Old War because it's too punishing. And you wouldn't see only 2 hardcore servers. You'd see way more. But you're not. because it's not something that the average player finds fun. So why do something that will just make the game less fun? Classic WoW was a great game because the developers and the designers of the game were, like, I think they're fucking geniuses. Like, and I think, honestly, it was an accident. Like, you ask Kevin Jordan, oh, how did all these good things about Classic happen? They're like, oh, I don't know. It just kind of worked out that way. Yeah. And so it wasn't about making the game hard. It wasn't about making it challenging and making death matter and these types of things.
About it, really.
If anything, it was the opposite whenever Classic came out.
Just understand
because Classic WoW was the next evolution of MMOs from EverQuest. And EverQuest was way more punishing.
Yes.
People were mad because Classic WoW was easy. So, John Stat's book also said it was mostly by accident. Yeah, there it is. I think that you have this group of gamers on Twitch and YouTube that are hyper-focused on creating environments where they can show themselves to be good at a video game. This is an important thing to have.
Yes.
But it should not drive the game.
Yeah,
like,
totally
having
not.
cool cosmetics is great. Things that you earn for clearing knacks is great. But if you constantly cater to players like that, you know what you get? I'll show you what you get, guys.
A shitty-ass commercial. Thanks. I needed this in my life. Fuck off. Nope. Oh, seriously. You guys are going to have so many commercials watching this video, aren't you?
This is what you get.
I feel for you.
You want to cater to people that play the game and only want the game to be built around rewarding them. Oh, by the way, this guy is better than anybody here in chat. He's better than you will ever be.
Jesus.
He is a god. If you make a game that caters to hyper-serious players, the only people that will play your game are hyper-serious players. The average person doesn't want to play a game that's built around punishing them for not paying attention for 3 seconds
figured it
because
out.
they looked away.
It only took 4 fucking years.
This is not good design. Just stop.
I had to wait for years.
Stop trying, like, and it's also like
years
there
for
are
this?
already games for that. There are competitive games out there that you can play right now. Why aren't you playing the real competitive games? Why are you trying to take a competitive mindset and put it into a casual game? Stop it. It's because, I think a lot of it, I really think you're not good enough to play with the big boys. You're not good enough to compete in Valorant. You're not good enough to play League. You're gold or you're bronze. And so you come into an MMO and you want to make sure that the MMO is like League so you can feel good about beating people that are less serious than you are. You can be a big fish in a small pond. No, this is not what should happen. Just like New World pivoted from hardcore to casual, and look what happened. They saw way more player retention. They did. So, nerfing repair costs, I disagree with this now. I don't think they should nerf repair costs. Yeah. I think repair costs are pretty much fine. Because repair costs drive farming, and farming drives the economy of the game. Improve threat awareness. This absolutely should happen.
How, exactly?
The idea that you don't know who has threat and you need an add-on to tell you who has threat is fucking ridiculous.
Seriously?
This should not exist. There is no reason why it should exist. In retail WoW, this is what I think they should add. I'm going to log on again.
Okay, I'm curious.
They should take exactly what they have from retail WoW and put it into Classic because it is perfect.
All right.
So basically in retail WoW, whenever you damage something, there is a little thing that's right here that will tell you how much threat you have on that thing.
Yeah,
and so
I've
I'm going
seen
to
that
throw
before.
one thing at him. See how it has 21% threat? 53%? And now I have aggro because I'm at 173%. Now, obviously, you know, I'm not able to do like any sort of like crazy stuff. I'm at 700%. So why am I at 700%? Well, that's because I have
10 times more aggros than the other guy.
It's because I've done that much damage. I'm at 1,000%. So this gives me an indicator of where my threat is at all times. This is absolutely something that should exist. Higher ceiling for professions. I completely agree with this. I think they should make professions go to like 350 or 450.
Right, but what do you
Something
get
like
out
that.
of it?
Or maybe even 500. And then just collectively, whenever new content is added, make professions go even higher.
All right, but you got to add something behind that increase, right? And then you have to ask yourself, if in a PvE context, it doesn't matter what you add, but in a PvP context, it's really, really bad. Because you're proposing to add something like thorium grenade that does twice the effects of a normal thorium grenade. Like, what the fuck are we talking about here? Bruh. How about no? The only thing I can think is that all right, so remember I said there were two options with the gearing thing. First option was, yes, bring new gear into the game, but it doesn't go above item level 83, so like max level. And the other option was that we could bring existing gear up to max level gear. So like the previous tier sets, anything and everything that drops in Molten Core, any other raid, yada, 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 you could bring it up to item level 83. You could have both systems, and the raids provide new max level gear, item level 83, but the professions are how you can bring up existing gear into max level itemization. But again, there's no way to do that without busting the fuck out of PvP, in my opinion, because then very quickly you're like, well, what does engineering get? What does alchemy get? What does herbalism and mining get? There would have to be like new herbs and mining or special materials or some crap like that. And it's just like, I guess everybody could craft special materials to bring up the old item levels, or the old gear up in item levels. So that's fine. So the only real question becomes engineering. How the fuck do you balance engineering around that? You'd have to give them a bunch of new abilities. But there's only so many things in the engineering tree that you could bring up to item level 83-ish without completely breaking and busting the actual game. The only thing I could think that would possibly make it work is if these new engineering things are so expensive that they're basically prohibited in duels because they're so expensive. And they would also be super, super rare to see in Battlegrounds just because they cost so much gold to use. That's the only way I could possibly see it balancing that. But holy fuck, you know not what you ask as far as a PvPer is concerned.
The reason why is that being a blacksmith in Classic WoW should matter. There should be something, like getting 500 blacksmithing, theoretically, should be like almost impossible to do.
Yes.
And there should be other items that you can get that will increase your blacksmithing in the same way that like the skinning knife increases your skinning. And if you have all of those things, you should be able to craft things that require skills that are above even 500.
What?
The same way as you can skin certain things if you have that skinning knife. David Moore premieres in 4 minutes on YouTube.
I'm not hearing anything about not breaking the fucking game behind this shit.
Actually, I'll just watch it after I finish this. I'm not going to watch it right now. It's a delicate topic. Yeah, life skilling is the best in any MMO. It's basically an entire game. Yes. I think that also, like, whenever I compare it, I think New World does a great job with professions. What do you guys think about that? Like, especially the crafting professions. And I'd like to see more of that. Rebalancing racials. I think they should...
Ooh, what they could really do with professions, that would actually be amazing, especially in conjunction with in elevating existing gear sets, would be, say you're trying to get full tier 2, and there's like one piece of full tier 2 that you just can't get to drop. You can actually get a blacksmith of extraordinarily high skill to make you that piece for a high levels of expense. In order to get it, you get for RNG protection purposes, right? So the blacksmith can actually make it. Then you would balance that in a weird way by making, because you don't want it to be pay to win, right? Obviously. You make the expense of making that item basically cost the players 2 other pieces of gear from that tier set, plus the blacksmith, and then plus some items as a gold sink in order to make the item that he just can't get to drop. So, for example, if you cannot get the tier 2 chest piece to drop for whatever fucking reason, but you have 2, well, technically you would have 3, you have 2 pieces of judgment gear that you've gotten, like boots and gloves, that you don't need them. You already have a boots and gloves for the judgment tier set. You take those 2 tier sets, you find yourself a blacksmith plus a gold desync, and you can it'll consume all those items, and bam, you'll be able to get the chest piece or whatever RNG protection thing you weren't able to do. That would be beautiful and genius.
Rebalance racials.
I'm glad I thought of it.
It's just that some are better than others.
What? Racials.
That's all there is to
what?
racials.
What?
Racials.
What? Stop saying racials.
I'd like to see more of that. Rebalancing racials.
Okay.
I think they should rebalance racials. It's
All
just
right.
that some are better than others. That's all there is to it. They're just better. I think that, like, for example, like a dwarf priest just has a massive
Okay, I see where
advantage
we're
over
going
a
here.
human priest. That should not be... You should not be able to make a mistake like that. Remove them, so... Well, the reason why it's bad, here's why it's bad. And I'm talking about classic WoW, or anything else. The reason why it's bad is because if you have something like that, nobody ever plays human priest.
Yeah. I gotta
And
go to the
also
bathroom
the
real fast
people
here.
that do play human
I'll think about that. All right. Let's get it on.
priest are viewed as idiots because they're actively putting themselves at a disadvantage. Doing anything in the game, you should not be able to make a mistake on character creation. Does that
Good
make
point.
sense?
Yeah.
You should never be able to make a mistake on character creation.
Night Elf Warrior.
And I think a human
Once
priest is a mistake.
Night Elf Warrior is another good example
just how
compared
it
to
is.
like a human Fury Warrior,
It's inferior in every single way.
because you don't realize how much
Spirit
the
buff,
weapon
it
skill
doesn't
is
outweigh
a big
Fear
issue.
Ward. Fear Ward is just way better. More powerful day and night system and the weather. I would love to see
That would be
a
kinda
stronger
cool.
day and night system in WoW.
That'd be kind of cool.
I think just, you know, again,
Yeah.
like, you know, the Inky Black Potion in retail WoW, I just think it's really cool. And it's nice. I would even be okay if the monsters had higher attack speed and they gave maybe a little bit more experience at
What
night,
the
same as
fuck?
like in Black Desert.
Holy God.
I think it's really cool. New hard dungeons like at TS Fight and Strat, again, they should add that, but again, it should be no loot. There should be rewards that you can get, because there are certain, like, I don't know, I think Atiyesh and 5 Priest of Kar are probably the 2 best examples. You can probably come up with other ones, but those are my most, you know, the ones I would bring up
Familiar.
the most, right? New hard dungeons, right? No combat add-ons. Okay, I'm going to circle this, and then I'm going to circle the circle.
What's a combat add-on?
Add-ons have been a parasite onto WoW.
I don't use add-ons.
They have been damaging to the game in a tremendous way. I wish that there were no add-ons in the game at all. 0 add-ons.
They're kind of necessary for PvP though, otherwise you just
Even
can't.
bag
Can't
add-ons.
be good.
Because every add-on that you don't have is something that Blizzard can put into the game, and there's
This is
more of an
true.
urgency to do so. Let's look at Final Fantasy, for example.
All right.
Final Fantasy, for almost 10 years, didn't have chat bubbles. And it probably will be 10 years by the time they get them. But after the add-on fiasco last year, Preach asked Yoshi P about chat bubbles at the recent Fan Fest, and now they're doing them. Because before, it wasn't a problem because players downloaded add-ons for that functionality. And now that add-ons are being more tightly regulated, Square Enix is making the game better on their own.
I can see that.
So there you go. That's why add-ons are bad.
That
Faster battle
was that an
reses.
argument?
I don't remember
What
like
the-
what this was in context. It was
I
like
don't-
2 years ago. I don't really see this being...
I don't think that was. I don't think you made an argument, boys. I could be wrong. Anyways, the faster battle reses either means fast when you die in a BG, shorter than 30 seconds to come back. But I think specifically what he means is if your ass is getting killed over and over and over again in PvP, eventually that timer gets really, really gay, especially on a PvP server, especially in like phase 2, right? Like let's be real here. Next thing you know, you're like a 15-minute battle res timer. Like, Jesus, what the fuck? I'm just trying to level. Can I run? God damn. It's possible for people to run around and fuck other people in the ass so hard that they literally cannot play the game. That might be what he's talking about here specifically.
Man, I don't know why this would matter. Yeah, I just crossed this one out. I don't know why I said that. More flight paths. I think adding a couple of extra flight paths would be okay. Yeah, I would actually be totally fine with that. And I'm not talking about, like, adding 700 flight paths. I'm talking about adding 3.
Lol. I know exactly which 3 he's talking about, too. I just had a funny thought. I always find it funny that my generation says the word gay on things for something being super bad, when historically it means, like, happiness, right? Like I'm like, yeah, this thing, we need to get rid of it. It is so happy, guys. Oh my god, it's so gay. Oh, and then in modern times, the word gay is actually a derogatory term. Like it's really bad. Like, oh, you're an evil person if you say the word gay. I'm like, what the fuck happened? What happened to this word? Holy shit. Ugh, whatever. I'm so confused.
Give hunters
All right.
focus. Hunters play better.
Yeah,
with
so
focus.
more flight paths. He's specifically talking about this from a alliance perspective, because the horde flight paths are amazing and perfect, and the alliance flight paths are dog shit and garbage. So, for example, how do we get to Stranglethorn Vale? We have to either be in Booty fucking Bay, or we have to be in Duskwood and run our happy little asses down there. We don't have anything like Gromgold Stronghold right there. Desolus is also cancerous ass for a flight path. And Fellwood is also so fucking difficult to get into. It's just like Stranglethorn Vale. It's like, what do we run from Ashen Vale into Lower Fellwood, or we fucking fly to Northern Fellwood? It sucks ass. Our flight paths suck, is basically what I'm saying. Alliance specifically. Horde is beautiful. I can't think of any flight paths that are bad at all in Horde. They even have Zeppelins that go from A to B. Like, god damn. Alliance don't have Zeppelins. Like, what the fuck?
Hunters shouldn't use.
Yeah, we got shitty ass boats where we can get ganked and murdered on. Fuck off.
Mana.
What?
Play better with. I'm talking about adding 3. Give hunters focus. Hunters play better with focus.
Are you
Hunters
sure?
shouldn't use mana. But I don't think this is important.
Yeah, this doesn't matter. Fuck you.
It's not important.
I was gonna say.
Consumable
I'll wait for
rebound,
your
probably
argument.
like TBC. I'm gonna disagree with this. Yeah, I don't
Yeah, to
think
hell
we
with
need this
that.
anymore.
Fuck
I
that.
think having all the consumables.
Yeah, after he saw the tournament, yeah, everyone's like, okay, yeah, the consumable system's fucking amazing. Yeah, it's beautiful, especially for PvP. God damn. I don't know what he's talking about. Maybe this is a PvE thing I don't know about. He's about to say something on it.
And having everything in the game that you can use
Oh, okay, that's what
makes
he
the
means.
game big.
Okay, so he's talking PvE specifically, because we do have cooldowns and shit that you can't use with each other in PvP. But in PvE, anything in its dog can be used.
Sure. Because if you can use
Whipper
I
root.
always mess this up.
Whipper root.
Riproot Tuber.
Yes.
There's a reason for you to go to Fellwood.
Yes.
If you can use
Dragon
Stone
fruit.
Shield Potion,
Beautiful.
there's a reason to go to Ashara.
Yes, there is.
There's a reason to go to all of these places because they give unique rewards, like the Badlands food buffs.
Uh-huh.
So yes, abso-fucking-lutely.
The
the roids from Blastlands. Yep, there it is.
Kickin' Chimera chops.
Instant
Roids from
mail.
Blastlands. The eco.
This is something
Yeah,
very
the Echo.
small, but they should obviously make mail instant. There's no reason not to have instant mail.
At the very least, make mail instant between the characters on your account. For the love of fucking God. Maybe there's some internal reason for it. Maybe it's a lag reason for it. Maybe there's a botting reason we don't do this. I don't know, but fuck you.
Remove spell batching completely. This already happened.
Yeah. After thinking about it, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, yeah. We'll get rid of it. It's fine. It's fine.
I was right.
Yeah, okay.
Other
All
massive
right. Yeah, you're right. I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you.
quest lines like AQ Gate Event Quest. The greatest quest ever made in the history of World of Warcraft is the Scepter of the Shifting Sands questline. Nothing else has even come close. However, Blizzard did make a very good effort in Cataclysm because the Dragon Wrath and Fangs of the Father questlines are some of the best questlines they've ever added.
What about
as well.
the Legion class quest lines? Those were kind of gnarly.
And also the Death Knight getting your mount questline in Legion was incredibly good.
That was ridiculous, yes.
However, Greenfire Warlock quest. Yes, there's another one. They need more big quest lines like the AQ Gate event, jumping puzzles. This kind of goes back with this. Having an armory where you can look people up. I think this is a good...
Yeah, you probably want to link those massive new quest lines to the increased profession cap. If we go with the 500 thing and then we do all the other crazy things we've been talking about, that would be kind of gnarly. But there are crazy quest chains, I think, to get like tier 0.5 and stuff, right? I could be wrong about that.
Good thing. It's just...
But he's talking insane quest lines. Like I've been here for 2 months. Holy fuck, dog. Does this quest chain end? Kind of a
new
deal.
New zones, voice acting for more quests.
What's armory?
I think this is definitely true. Need more big quest lines. Armory where you can look people up. I think this is a good thing. It's just easier. It's just more convenient.
Don't we have raid logs for that, basically?
New zones, voice acting for more quests.
Voice acting, okay, that's
I think this is definitely true.
That'll be a big dub.
Forced max of 55-45 in PvP servers.
What? 60-40 is fine, but yeah, I could see that. That's actually not the worst idea in the world.
I do think you kind of need this.
Yeah.
In terms of like having certain servers that are PvP servers be forced balance. I disagree with all the world buffs that became meta to farm in Classic. I know it was vanilla. I used to farm it myself for Nax, but how people play today is instant meta for all content if it's in the game. You're right. World buffs do not come without a cost. World buffs do absolutely create a meta, and I don't think that that meta is good for the game. But I think that what world buffs add to the game is a greater value than what they take away. I think it's an overall positive, even though it does bring a negative. Remove dire maul buffs? Why? What's wrong with dire maul buffs? No armory.
All right, I said it before, I'll say it again. World buffs is not the new meta. Okay? World buffs is not the new meta. World buffs is not the new meta. The new meta is to split your guild into two 25-man groups of Chads and then two GDKP to get increased loot drops. Okay, under those conditions, we don't really use world buffs. We just pick up like Ani buff. Maybe you pick up a Songflower, and that's about it, right? But literally, it would be like, Songflower, Hearthstone, Ani buff, and then away you go. But even then, you don't bother because you're going to have like 15, 20 dumb fucks that could easily wipe the raid at any point, even in Molten Core, even with 20 Nax geared characters. I am not fucking joking. These people are amazing. And that is how the new meta is in Classic World of Warcraft. So world buffs aren't really a thing anymore. The game is just too easy. It still is a thing in Nax, I think, and then good luck doing Nax without world buffs.
Because trying to check other people's gear and raids before to create meetings in cities and hubs, which creates connection. This guy actually brings up a really good point, and I might actually change my opinion on this.
All right, what's up?
Look at what he says.
All right.
He says no armory because trying to check people's gear before raids, etc., creates meetings in cities and hubs, which creates connection and interaction. I actually think you're right.
Yeah, okay, that makes perfect sense. Also, we got logs, like raid logs for this shit. Who the fuck needs to do this? I don't know what we're talking about armory for. Like, why is armory important? They'll look at your raid logs. God damn.
I do. I actually think you're right. This is a great point. You're right. They should not have an armory. Yeah, you're actually right. True. Chatter.
Armory would fuck with PvP quite a bit. Yeah, honestly.
What about in-game armory? You have that. It's called the inspect button. Increase inspect range? Yeah, they should do that. No way to verify experience?
What?
No way to verify experience.
Raid logs.
Good.
Raid
You
logs?
also have logs.
Yeah, no shit, you dumb fucks.
And you have gear. If somebody has Onslaught Girdle, they've killed Ragnaros.
Yeah, no shit.
If somebody has Girdle of the Mentor, they've killed Resuvius.
Yeah, no shit.
If you got 100% verify experience, the new players will never get invited to raids. Yeah.
It's like, who needs to raid inspect somebody when they got like 90% parses? Like, what the fuck?
And also, the reason why new
And
players...
then if it's me personally, right, I'll be like a Paladin healer. I'll have like a 65% parse, so I look like dog shit. But then they look at my logs and they see what I'm doing the whole time. I'm like, keeping judgment and wisdom up, and I'm cleansing shit, and I'm rank oneing this guy and that guy and this thing and this thing. It's painfully obvious what I'm doing. I'm basically the support paladin. Like, all right, this guy's sexy as fuck. He's willing to do it, and not a lot of paladins are. Dunzo.
don't get invited to raids in a lot of games is because the raids are too hard.
Yes.
Like Lost Ark has this problem because the raids are so punishing.
Yes.
Easier games don't have this problem because it's more important to just bring somebody that has a pulse.
It's a warm body.
And that's why Classic WoW is superior.
Yes.
What you're talking about, I love how in retail, if I join an expansion late, it's impossible to join Mythic Plus after 2 weeks because my IO is too low. Yeah. And that's because Mythic Plus is punishing.
Yeah, like literally the new meta on Era is you bring something like 10 Chads and 30 lads to Molten Core in a GDKP. And I will actually get messaged on my Paladin because I've got pretty damn good gear on my Paladin. I'll get messaged from my Paladin that they will pay me extra gold to go to a GDKP because one, they need Paladins, and two, they need healers. It's like, hey, we'll pay you literally 200 gold to come heal Molten Core for us. What do you say? It's because, I've got experience and I've got gear. And I'm basically being paid to go do that. Basically, what you need is you need enough Chads that if things go horrifyingly wrong, you're still going to kill Ragnaros, even with there's only 10 people left alive. Because, dear God, some of these classic players, man, holy shit, I think they're drunk or something. I don't fucking know.
If Mythic Plus didn't punish you as much as it did, players would be more accepting to new people. But
Absolutely.
because Mythic Plus punishes you so heavily,
Even the dungeons.
players don't want to take chances.
No, it's fucking terrible. I
Thoughts on
hate
titles?
retail.
Titles, they don't need titles. Titles are fine. Remove Boon, bring back Warchief Blessing Horde Online. No, I think that all world buffs, world buffs should be unique consumables that go into your bag. Like, you should have to get, like, some item, like a world, like a Chrono Boon 2.0. World buffs are a huge advantage, and if you don't want to have them in your bags, then don't put them in your bags. You rebuff when you Yeah, you can do that with Chrono Boon, too. It's a great idea. You don't have time to play in a row, but you can get them the day before. Yeah. Too much bag space makes it weird. It has to be a nice balance.
No, just make professions are increasing,
no,
bro.
because then you can just you can just use them. If you feel like you're wasting too much bag. Does anybody actually have an argument against this? Doesn't it make sense?
No, bag space is
Make
fine.
it like a keyring type shit? Yeah, sure. No threat of kill. Dispel. Trivializes holding on top buffs. Current edition is Chromie. At least acceptable. Lets players do other things while they wait for raid.
The nice thing about Chromie is I think it's a gold sink. So if you want to make it a gold sink there, then by all means.
I don't think that you should have to worry about getting killed or dispelled. I don't think that you should be able to dispel world buffs. Kevin Jordan, one of the actual designers of Classic WoW, said that it was never intended for some world buffs to be dispelled. So this was an unintended interaction, and I don't think that it made the game better. World buff dispelling was a cringe meta for losers. And Blizzard made Classic WoW worse by letting it happen. They should have changed it.
Well, okay. So there's only two possibilities here, right? Either you make them undispellable, in which case we'll just murder the guy and his world buffs will go away, or you make the world buffs not go away even upon death, which would be a big fucking PvP issue, especially in Battlegrounds. Now, you could turn off that ability in Battlegrounds or just have the world buffs completely removed for Battlegrounds, but for World PvP, I'm going to tell you right now, World buff meta, World PvP, fuck, goddamn. How about no? So either way, Asmongold is 100% correct. It's only the first one that's going to work. Yeah, by all means, make him dispellable, make him losable on death. But like have the chrono boom or whatever the hell he's talking about.
Like they should have changed that in beta. It was stupid.
What, them being dispellable? No, fuck
Maddie
you.
got dispelled. I never got dispelled. I stopped raiding, and then I just got summoned directly to a boss. I think I got dispelled maybe once. I've been killed like maybe twice, but that's also being on a PvP server. If they can't be dispelled, doesn't it make them meta for PvP then? For world PvP, yeah. But if you die with a buff up, you still lose the buff.
Yes.
Like, all I'm saying is that players that have characters that are dead next to a Songflower, in order to res instantly, get killed instantly, and inside of that fraction of a second, dispel one person's Songflower or two people's Songflower, this is not something that is good for the game.
So you'd rather actually see like
world buffs in any instance content, dumb the balance
like,
around
at least
it.
make it.
Well, they shouldn't deactivate world buffs, because world buffs make the instances, they make the raids more fun. Because you can just blow up the boss.
Okay.
It's really cool. And if you spend a lot of time and effort into getting them all, you can make the raid easier. World raid versus raid PvP at portals is incentivized if there's something to take. Chrono Boon obviously changed this, but it would also like some way for players to interact with buffs in world PvP. No, I don't. Why would you want that?
What?
Because like, so this is something that sounds like a good idea.
What do you say?
This, but time and effort and to get blow up the boss.
Okay.
You can thing to take. Chrono easier. World raid versus raid PvP at portals is incentivized if there's something to take. Chrono Boon obviously changed this, but it would also like some way for players to interact with buffs in world PvP.
What?
No, I don't. Why would you?
What? Some way for players to interact
Why would
with
you
world
want
buffs
that?
and world PvP. Yeah, it's called
Because,
we murder them.
This is something that sounds like a good idea in a completely... Like, I'll read your comment here.
Thank God. What the fuck?
What versus raid portals incentivized there's something to take. Okay.
All right.
So,
world raid versus raid PvP at raid portals is incentivized. World raid... What? Raid portals is incentivized if there is something to take. Okay, so we're talking about standing outside of the entrance to Molten Core as an entire raid to murder people. Changed this, but would like some way... Fuck you. Learn to write for players to interact with world PvP buffs and interact with buffs in world PvP. What? I don't know what the fuck this guy is talking about.
this only works if there is an equal playing field. And in almost every single PvP server, we've seen this happen in Retail WoW, and we've seen it happen in Classic, and we're seeing it happen in Hardcore. In Hardcore WoW, Skullrock is the Horde server, and the other one is the Devious Pillager is the Alliance server. Players self-segregate. And so all you do is you hurt people. This is again what I was saying, is you're hurting players. You should never be able to make a mistake on character creation.
I'm clueless.
Wrong, it's all Alliance.
I don't know if this guy is
Alliance?
acting.
I thought there were some on Skullrock that were Horde. I don't think that you... Because, like, I mean, yeah, if there's, like, 100 people waiting there and you're a raid team of 40, you're just going to die.
Yeah.
Like, it's not... That's not fun.
No.
That sucks.
That's why Chrono Boon is there.
55-45 might help with this. Raiding with world buffs immensely informed game plan for Alina, which remained balanced for most of the server.
55-45 is not going to change shit.
You think Faralina was balanced? I remember whenever I transferred off in BC, I /Hewed, and there were only 2 players that were level 70. Yeah, I think Grobulus was...
Damn, dude, you got enough
no,
out of your
TBC.
nose
Yeah, I mean,
yet?
that was
Jesus.
TBC, but I mean, like, things were going that way
itching.
in Classic already. Like, can we look and see? Where's Ironforge Pro?
QV 澳洲最多皮膚科醫生推薦嘅品牌，你嘅肌膚屏障
Click it
守護
quick.
乾敏記。
No, we'll get another one. Thank God. LOL. What the fuck
So
is
here
this?
we go. When did Wrath come out? Or sorry, when did TBC come out? TBC came out like right about, I think it was like July 1st or something like that.
Is it all Horde
Yeah,
now? What
it was
the
like,
fuck?
was it June? Okay. So you look at June, right?
I guess, yeah.
Alliance and Horde. So the Horde have 1,000 more raiders. Now, 1,000 more might not seem like a lot. This might not seem like a lot, right? But 4,000 versus 3,000, that means for every 3 people you have, they have 4 people. Every raid they do is a 40-man raid, and you can only bring 30 people. You're gonna lose. Like, this is a huge, massive fucking advantage. This is an insurmountable advantage, given even slightly parity in skill. Basically, no world gameplay came TBC, evidenced by initial world boss spawns in TBC. Why are we caring about TBC data compared to Classic Anal here? Oh, yeah, I'll look at Classic WoW. Alliance was ahead, Alliance was behind. I guess, like, so, when did Alliance, like, really start dying on Faralina? Oh, the Alliance started dying on in TBC. All I'm saying is that I think that if you're playing on a server that's PvP, I don't think that...
All right, so here's the part that they're kind of missing here. Not that I'm arguing one way or the other. Even if the population is equal between Horde and Alliance, a lot of the Alliance players are playing Alliance because they want a PvE. They are not PvPers by any stretch of the imagination. Meanwhile, on the Horde side, something stupid like 2/3 of Horde players are skilled PvPers and are specifically playing Horde because they want to PvP. Like, specifically, because Horde have the better PvP ratios, and Alliance have the better PvE ratios up to and including Paladins, right? Like, that's just known. So, if there's equal parity, like 50-50 split, that you're going to get crushed in PvP. Like, that I lived through it. It is what it is, right?
This is also, like, another kind of, like, general meta opinion that I have, is that I don't think that you should enable gameplay that is built off of making somebody else's gameplay worse.
No
so
shit.
That's like world buff dispelling, like other forms of griefing, etc. Like, just on a fundamental level, you should not try to design gameplay that is built to be parasitic. So if the only reason for
That's
making players have to have world buffs on is so you can kill them and then make them mad,
being quite
I
specific.
don't think that's a very good argument. And also, like, that's one piece of the puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
There's also another very large piece of the puzzle that some people just don't want to have to worry about dealing with having all these world buffs and using Chrono Boon and having to deal with all of it. It just takes an entire process and issue, and it completely simplifies it in a way that just makes the game easier to understand and better to play. Just wants retail again for Classic Plus. Do you really think you can improve Classic? Is your premise that you're guessing?
What?
You think this is me wanting retail WoW? Many players operate on Schadenfreude? So this is, like, actually a very good point.
Schadenfreude is taking pleasure from other people's pain. It's like sadism kind of a thing. Yeah, it's called PvP, you stupid fucks. But in this particular example, we're talking about... Okay, let's go back. All right. So in this particular example, we're talking about making the PvPers happy, particularly the PvP flexers and the PvPers happy, specifically at the expense of the raiders, right? Let the PvPers literally, like, you know, sadism and masochism themselves amongst it. Let them eat their own. Let the PvPers eat their own. That's why PvP servers exist, right? So that us PvPers can literally eat our own, and everybody else can just go do their own thing. I don't know. That's just me.
I'm going to bring this up again. Many players operate on Schadenfreude. Those players
are
bad.
Pleasure derived by someone from another person's misfortune. Yes. And this is a terrible person to design a game around.
for a game.
All right.
And those players are bad for a game.
Yes.
And if you build a game
They're not
that
bad
enables
for it, but
and empowers people like that, the only thing that's going to happen to your player base is that it's going to shrink. Because people don't like being around that. You should not enable people that are actively hostile and looking to grief and make other people unhappy.
No.
There should be lose
That's literally
conditions.
phase 2.
Why not? Because it causes other people to quit the game.
Yes. And then
you
you
used
run
to
out
be
of
that
people
guy.
to shot 'em
That's
for
how
it
I
on.
know.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's my whole point. I'm speaking from experience. I made the game less fun for a lot of people. They should rework everything about Classic, make it similar to retail so that we can enjoy the old story. I don't think they should make it similar to retail. What about a single mega server? In my opinion, servers are the only purpose servers serve
Jesus Christ.
is a technical limitation.
World PvP would be...
Whenever you're playing the World of Warcraft,
How the fuck
you should
are we
theoretically
gonna
be
fit,
on the same World of Warcraft
like, 2
as
million
everybody
people?
else. In a perfect world, there would be no servers. Servers are very much a bigger
about fuck
unintended
you?
purpose. You think servers are good? I disagree. I think servers are bad. I think servers create more negatives than positives.
I think it'd be fine if we were all on the same layer on one giant server. That'd be fine. But if you try to put us all on the same
Would you prefer
map,
classic
that's
style
not gonna
talent tree
work.
or retail? I'm okay with both of them. I think the retail talent tree right now is great, and I think the classic talent trees are great.
All right. Somebody... Yeah, don't change the talents. Fuck you.
Obviously, I think they should stick with the classic ones because it's classic WoW.
Yeah, no shit.
But other than that, yeah, that's about it. You can't overcome that technical limitation yet? Yeah. Just a sec.
Alright, good. We're almost done here. This is getting kind of boring. I might end the video right here. What are you doing, homie?
One server is bad. You live on planet Earth, and having different ping on server location is based. Yeah, I think that's. There's clearly like some. There's some level of restriction they have to have, like for example, language barriers and ping barriers. But in a general sense, I think everybody on North America should play on the same server, if ping allows it. Like there, of course, have to be some regional. Like realistic expectations, but this should be the goal.
The only other downside is there would be no way to
I
enforce,
think
say,
instead of
like,
servers, they should have
60-40.
instances. This way, the guilds are all on the same server, applying on the same field. Only servers should be NA, EU. I don't know. Maybe more socializing features. Yeah, like guild halls, something like that. That'd be really cool. But anyway, this is the kind of stuff I'd like to see in Classic WoW. You know, after, like, this is a
You know what would be an amazing gold sink? Is if you could make yourself layer, but it cost you a gold. That would actually be a really good gold sink, I think.
2023 version. Oops, that's
Jesus,
not a
bro.
3. It's a lightning bolt. Oh, that's not a 3 either. It's too high. There we go. 2023. No reforging? Nope, no reforging. Just get different gear. This is what I think they should add, and this is what I think would be a good thing for Classic.
Oh, reforging. Ooh. Ooh. Huh. That, yeah, there's pros and cons to that.
Well, I think also if Blizzard said, you know what, we're only going to do this, or we're only going to do this, or we're only going to do this, I would be okay with it. I think that Blizzard should approach Classic
The
Plus
closest they stay to no changes,
as
the better.
conservatively as possible.
Yeah.
Because once something is in the game,
The closer they
it
stay
can never really be taken
no
out of the game.
changes,
It's hard. It's a
the
lot
better.
harder to take something out of the game than put it in.
Let's
the game.
add flying. Like, oh,
So they should be
fuck.
incredibly conservative. Like, you know, 75%.
Gee, I wonder what
polling,
happens to world
then
PvP when
maybe
you
they
do flying
consider
in the
it.
game.
And that's it. So these changes, I think, will just, you know, kind of enhance gameplay and make it better. But the core aesthetic of Classic should not change. Add pet battles to Classic.
Sure, why not?
I actually wouldn't care if they added pet battles to
No,
Classic.
fuck, changes nothing.
I wouldn't. It's a completely separate minigame that has nothing to do with anything else in the game. Agreed. Pet battles are fine. People are drawing a line in the sand for no reason. Yeah, I think that's what people are doing. People are saying, because pet battles are one of those things that, like, everybody is like, oh, that's like retail WoW. Oh, like retail WoW pet battles. So, like, there's not actually any thinking that goes into it. It's just people that are making it up. Slippery slope? No, it's not a slippery slope. It's common sense.
All right. That was excellent. I waited years for that. Years. Literally made this video in response to the previous one. I wonder if I have it at the beginning where I talk about it. I'm actually curious myself. Let's see here.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. So as you know, you may or may not be encouraged by the title of this video. And I just want to point out that the simple answer to is TBC or Burning Crusade better than, like, which one is better and why, has to do with the simple fact that if you liked anything about classic World of Warcraft, there's a good chance that it doesn't exist in TBC.
Oh boy, I'm having flashbacks.
If you did not like anything about classic World of Warcraft, then there's a good chance that you will like it in its iteration in...
All right, okay, we're done here. All right, on the video here on Day of Volt, boys.